It began in a dream. In it, Grace stood in a white gown soaked in blood. She was screaming, cradling a lifeless baby. Around her, shadows moved like smoke. Then, a voice thundered, "Hold on to my promise. The child is mine." She woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. Her husband Daniel stirred. "Again," he whispered. She nodded, tears pooling. Same dream. Again. The same blood. The same voice. Daniel took her trembling hands and prayed with her. They had reason to be afraid. Their first child had died just 3 days after birth. A little girl named Mercy, gone without explanation, gone before her first smile. Now, their second child, Ephraim, was barely hanging on. Born with severe jaundice, he had fought to live from his first breath. But instead of getting better with time, his health declined. Fever, frequent infections, seizures. Grace had taken him everywhere. Big hospitals, small clinics, native healers, even deliverance crusades. No change, no help. It was a hot Saturday evening when Grace noticed Ephraim's body twitching. His hands curled unnaturally. His lips turned blue. Then the frothing started. She screamed, "Daniel, he's convulsing again." They didn't wait for a tricycle or a taxi. Daniel grabbed the child and sprinted with Grace to the roadside. A good Samaritan stopped and drove them straight to the emergency unit of St. Luke's Teaching Hospital. The boy was unresponsive. Inside the ER, nurses took the child from Daniel's arms and rushed him in. "Please save my baby," Grace cried. "Wait here, ma'am," one nurse said firmly. Grace collapsed into a plastic chair. Her eyes locked on the bloodstains Ephraim had left on her wrapper. Daniel paced back and forth. "No, not again, Lord. Please, not again." The prayer that broke heaven open. Grace fell to her knees and began praying in tongues. Loudly, unashamed. The hospital reception grew silent. Some stared, others bowed their heads. But Grace didn't care. Daniel joined in. "Lord, you gave this child. You will not let him die. We call on you." Just then, an elderly man with a Bible approached them. He introduced himself softly. "Pastor Isaiah, I was visiting a patient. May I join you?" They nodded. The three held hands and began to pray. It was more than prayer, it was warfare. As Grace prayed, she remembered the promise she made after losing Mercy. "If you give me another child, I'll return him to you, Lord." She had forgotten, but heaven hadn't. That moment, Daniel stopped praying. "I saw something," he said. "What?" Grace asked. "I saw a hand pull Ephraim out of a grave, and a voice said, 'Make a covenant now.'" The covenant. Daniel knelt and raised his hands. "Lord, if you save our son, I will give him back to you. He will serve you with his life. I vow to dedicate him to kingdom service." Grace added, "And his name will no longer be Ephraim. We will call him ThankGod, because we will live the rest of our lives in thanksgiving." Right then, a heavy storm broke out. Thunder clapped. Lightning flashed. Rain fell like a flood, drenching the hospital windows. The turning point. Inside the ward, something changed. One of the doctors, Dr. Emmanuel, stood by Ephraim's bed, shaking his head. "He's not responding. We may lose him." A junior nurse who had overheard the parents' prayers whispered, "Sir, just check his pulse one more time." He did. "Wait, wait," he shouted. "Pulse is coming up. He's stabilizing." Another nurse ran in with oxygen. They adjusted his 4 fluids, rechecked vitals, and turned him over gently. Within minutes, Ephraim's breathing normalized. His seizures stopped. His skin regained color. The storm outside continued, as if heaven itself was celebrating. Later that evening, Ephraim was moved to the Cebu, Special Care Infant Baby Unit, for monitoring. Grace and Daniel sat close together in the waiting lounge, holding hands and praising softly. Pastor Isaiah sat beside them, eyes closed in deep intercession. A few hours later, Dr. Emmanuel called, "Mr. and Mrs. Daniel, please come with me." In his office, he gestured for them to sit. "First," he said, "your son is stable. His vitals are normal. It's almost like he came back from the dead." Grace smiled through her tears. "He did." Daniel added, "We made a covenant with God. His name is now ThankGod." The doctor raised an eyebrow. "Well, Thank God has another story. He opened a file and pointed to the screen. We found a tumor at the base of his brainstem, a fast-growing one. It was most likely the reason for the seizures. Grace froze. But here's the strange part. When we did a second scan 2 hours later, it was gone. Completely gone. No scar. No trace. Nothing. He leaned back in his chair, staring at them. I've practiced medicine for 18 years. I've never seen anything like this. Pastor Isaiah looked at the couple and smiled. Your child did not just survive. He was chosen. Grace broke into tears again. Lord, thank you, thank you. Daniel turned to the doctor. He's no longer ours. He belongs to God. From miracle to mission. The days turned to weeks. Thank God grew stronger. He started crawling earlier than expected, talking early, walking without support. He never fell sick again, not even a common cold. His story spread across their town. Strangers would visit just to see the boy who died and came back. At 6, he began to see visions. He once walked into his parents' room and said, "Mummy, don't go to the market today. There'll be a road accident." She obeyed. That very day, a fatal bus crash occurred at the exact route she used. At 8, he preached for the first time at a youth revival. He stood on a stool, held the mic with both hands, and said, "God saved me not to be famous, but to be faithful." People wept. Years later, at 13, Thank God had a dream. In it, he saw a girl child, wrapped in white, smiling at him. She said, "Tell Mommy and Daddy I'm fine. My name is still Mercy." The next morning, he told his parents. Grace burst into tears. She knew, without doubt, it was the sister he never met. God had given her closure and a message of hope. On his 15th birthday, Thank God stood before a congregation of over 1,000 people. He wore a white shirt and held a small Bible. He looked into the crowd and said, "I was born to die. But grace rewrote my story. I am not alive because of medicine, but because of mercy." The crowd erupted in praise. The enemy came to steal, kill, and destroy. But God turned mourning into dancing. A child once pronounced dead became a voice to nations. His name is not just Thank God, it's a testimony. Did this story stir your faith? Please like, share, and subscribe for more powerful real-life Christian stories. Remember, God is still writing testimonies. Yours might be next.